To Prime Business with me, Pius Kojo Baka. Ghana's economy grew to 6.9% in the second quarter of 2024. That's according to provisional figures released by the Ghana Statistical Service. Now, compared to the first quarter of 2024, the economy grew at 4.7%. There is more in the following report.
The subsector which expanded the most under the services sector was information and communication, recording 12.8% year-on-year and by 2.9% quarter-on-quarter. Mining and quarrying subsector expanded by 14.8% year-on-year and 3.8% quarter-on-quarter in Q2 of 2024. The agriculture subsector saw crops expanding with 6.4%.
From a non-oil GDP perspective, we recorded 43 billion Ghana cedis for the second quarter of 2024 relative to 40 billion Ghana cedis for the second quarter of 2023. Based on these constant figures, the economy grew by 6.9% in the second quarter of 2024. In the second quarter of 2024, Ghana's economy grew by 6.9% relative to the 2.5% that the economy experienced in the second quarter of 2023. Between 2022 second quarter and 2023 second quarter, the economy grew by 2.5%, and between the second quarter of 2023 and the second quarter of 2024, the economy grew by 6.9%. We saw a marginally higher increase for non-oil GDP, as non-oil GDP for the second quarter of 2024 grew by 7.0% relative to 6.9% for oil GDP.
However, some subsectors experienced contractions during the period. Forestry and logging subsector had a contraction growth of negative 5.2%. Water supply, sewage, waste management and remediation activities also recorded a contraction rate of negative 9.6%.
From a non-oil GDP perspective, we see an increase of about 3.9 percentage points between the period 2022 second quarter and 2023 second quarter, in which the economy grew by 3.1% relative to 7.0% between the second quarter of 2023 and the second quarter of 2024. Over the period, the 6.9% that we've recorded for overall GDP and the 7.0% that we've recorded for non-oil GDP is the highest that we've seen in the last several quarters.
Personal services activities under the services sector had a contraction of negative 3.1%. James Ishan's report for Joy Business.
And on the back of that, the Association of Ghana Industries has entreated government to invest more in agriculture to boost the fortunes of the industry sector. According to the AGI, most manufacturing firms have started resorting to importing their raw materials for production. But if the agricultural sector is well resourced, they will be left with no option than to source their raw materials locally. This, they believe, will help improve the industry's contribution to the overall economic growth of the country. Shana Mapelu is the Greater Accra Regional Chairman of AGI.
Recall that if you drive around the city of Accra, there are several construction activities happening. Construction is becoming one of the major components of industry that is really growing in a big way. Our hope is that for the real scheme of industry to grow, especially the manufacturing sector, we need to ensure that agriculture is taking a second look at, because agriculture allows us to have access to the raw materials that we need. Increasingly, we're importing raw materials from abroad. And given the current economic exchange rate situation we're facing, our hope is that if we can get access to most of these raw materials locally, it will allow us to concretize our industrial gains. And so our focus now is really on the agri sector, and we believe that if government takes steps to ensure that the agri sector is receiving a tremendous growth, at least for the purposes of supplying or serving as a conduit for getting raw materials to industry, we can be assured that we will not have to go out to import raw material, but we can actually get them locally.
The European Union is calling on government to develop a holistic framework which will promote the use of technology to boost the agri sector. According to the programs officer, the European Union delegation to Ghana noted that the adoption of technological innovation will guarantee the growth of the agricultural sector. She spoke on the sidelines of the EU session on promoting digitalization and industrialization in the agribusiness sector at an ongoing Ghana Industrial Summit and Exhibition organized by the Association of Ghana Industries.
Included a presentation on the digitalization of the agribusiness sector in Ghana. The finding from the research, which was funded by the European Union, proposed that government develop policies to guarantee accessible and affordable internet for farmers. Additionally, it's noted that the majority of farmers will require training to ensure the proper use of technological applications. Commenting on this, Margozata Pitura, Programs Officer at the Economic and Trade Unit of the European Union delegation to Ghana, called for consistent policies to encourage the adoption of technology in the agribusiness space.
So the government should work out on the so-called digital agriculture policy. In my view, that would be the best because digital uptake should be something that the government is seriously committed to, and that it comes with a proper implementation plan for every region, so that farmers everywhere are helped and supported with this in this regard.
With a total support of approximately 200 million euros in the agribusiness value chain in the past 7 years, Margozata explained that the European Union remains resolute in supporting the agribusiness sector.
We are supporting agri-entrepreneurs through capacity building programs. We often choose specific value chains to support them with regard to sustainable practices. So sustainability, here we think of going green or going environmentally friendly, or the social sustainability. And a lot of this programs have taken place, but more is coming in the pipeline.
Seydou Mubarak, a beneficiary of EU-funded schemes in the agribusiness sector, called for support for farmers affected by the recent drought in the northern belt of the country. He lamented the challenge of securing funding for the upcoming crop season due to the loss of capital caused by reduced yields resulting from the drought.
Because this is the capital we are talking of that is at risk. So if we are not able to recover fully or even partially, we are going to be in trouble. But then the levels of maize production that we saw in 2023-2024, certainly we will not be getting the same levels in this year, 2024-2025 season. In 2 months' time, we are expected to harvest, and looking at the things, certainly we will not be having the same levels as we had last year.
The EU session at the 2024 Ghana Industrial Summit and Exhibition, organized by the Association of Ghana Industries, was held on the theme Promoting Industrial Development and Digitalization of the Ghanaian Agribusiness Sector, Challenges and Opportunities.
MTN Ghana has urged or argued that the cost of data paid by Ghanaians is comparatively average with the global trend as it experiences high operating costs during production. MTN Ghana recorded a 15.9% growth in data subscription for the first half of the year, which drove a significant revenue for the company. Speaking to journalists after addressing investors and some shareholders are the facts behind the figures organized by the Ghana Stock Exchange, Chief Executive for MTN Ghana, Stephen Blewett, said the company pays more to ensure quality service.
Well, I mean, I think one of these things is you have to do comparisons, global comparisons, and sometimes there's perception that we are expensive, but if you look in reality about what we charge, relative to the cost that we have, because it's not free to produce data, we have costs that are involved. It's not always that, this view that, we excessive. I think you have to look at global benchmarks, and we also have to look at the cost of production, because obviously we have a cost of production to produce data. And part of that is improving our network and expanding the network and putting more and more technology. So we continue to do that. Yeah.
Where is that cost coming from? Is it from government or from
No, it's from cost from running a network. Every network has multiple costs. There's layers. There's the layers of running it. There's the electricity costs. There's the cost of the actual data itself in terms of you have certain revenue costs. Because you don't just pay the cost of data in terms of just per meg. There's people behind it. There's all different types of costs. So as a business, we always try and be as efficient as possible, And what we try and do is we try and give away as much value as we can to our customers through deals and CVM offers.
Meanwhile, MTN recorded a marginal decline in subscriber growth in the first half of the year as a result of some lower tariff packages offered by competitors. And while longer within the industry, and the president of the Ghana Internet Service Providers Association, Michael Infojo, has attributed the rising cost of internet services to high taxes and the depreciation of the local currency. Speaking at the 2024 Ghana Internet Conference, Mr. Infojo emphasized the need for policy reforms to stabilize internet costs and support business growth.
The 2024 Ghana Internet Conference was on the theme Empowering Ghana, Building a Resilient Local Internet Ecosystem for Business Growth and Continuity. The president of the Internet Service Providers Association, Michael Infojo, attributed the rising cost of internet on high taxes and the depreciation of the local currency.
They result from some taxes that these service providers have to transfer to consumers. And then also, if you look at what is happening to the exchange rate, most of these service providers import their equipment from outside. They pay in foreign currencies, and they have to change a lot of cedis in order to get the foreign currencies to be able to provide the services that they provide. And so if government can step into this, look at the situation at the moment, and be able to reduce some of the taxes or take some of them out completely in order to help drive the cost of internet down. That would be very helpful to the citizens.
Dean of the Quality Assurance and Planning Office at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Professor Jerry John Ponyo, emphasized on the need for resilient internet ecosystem.
The journey towards a fully resilient internet ecosystem will require sustained commitment from all stakeholders. It involves significant investment in infrastructure, skill development, and innovation.
Head of Telecel Wholesale, Neil Latte, assured consumers of a reliable internet against all odds.
In response to the undersea outage in March 2024, we have boosted our resilience through significant investment by securing additional routes in West Africa through INC, in Europe via SAT3, in Southern Africa through Angola cables and WACS, ensuring greater reliability and redundancy.
The conference brought together key stakeholders within Ghana's internet ecosystem.
Star Life Assurance has announced a partnership with Ego Tickets to provide a unique life insurance solution to event attendees. The product will enable ticket holders to make claims in case of any emergency at the venue. There is more in the following report.
The product provides coverage against total permanent disability or death for event attendees. This new benefit is seamlessly integrated as an add-on to the tickets purchased through Ego Tickets for various events, making insurance more accessible than ever. Alexander Chumesi is the head of commercial distribution at Star Life Assurance. He explains the reason behind the partnership.
It comes with it some related risk, such as accidents, and these accidents could result in disability and even death. So we need to really team up with a market leader such as Ego Tickets to provide the needed protection for event attendees.
With the festive season fast approaching, the Chief Executive Officer of Ego Tickets, George Festus Mensah, believes it is time to have a comprehensive insurance plan for event attendees.
Anyone who purchases a digital ticket from Ego Tickets, who is within the age 74 years, qualifies for this. So as was mentioned during the launch, the anxiety which comes from attending such events, football events, entertainment events, and any other event, be it religious, corporate, or anything, there is always an anxiety around it. Preparing to go, anything can happen. My team got caught up in traffic today due to unforeseen circumstances on the way.
On her part, the Chief Executive Officer of Star Life Assurance, Kakra Dufour Nyako, applauded her team for working hard to launch the product.
So we're very excited about this. I want to give a personal thanks to Madam Stella. I think, as everybody said, it's been a long journey. I've bombarded her with calls, I've bombarded her with visits, but they have been extremely supportive and they have held a hand through the process. Of course, with any unusual kind of collaboration, a lot of work needs to go into it. So I'm appreciating more especially the NIC and Madam Stella for her patience, and my team as well. I think I always say that my team they keep me going, because sometimes when you look at the challenges and the roadblocks, I'm like, guys, let's just give up, because it's not, but they spur me on.
So watching Prime Business. The Director of Research and Statistics and Information Management of the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, Divine Ayijo, has reiterated their commitment towards supporting various MMDAs to contribute towards revenue generation for economic development. Mr. Ayijo, who was speaking at the launch of the Participation, Accountability and Integrity for a Resilient Democracy program, which aims to support the National Decentralization Policy Strategy 2020 to 2024, said the ministry will continue to empower MMDAs to undertake developmental projects without solely relying on government funding. More in this report.
The Participation, Accountability and Integrity for a Resilient Democracy PERD program by the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development is seeking to make Ghana's system of intergovernmental transfers and local public finances more efficient and transparent by supporting the implementation and review of the Intergovernmental Fiscal Framework. At the launch of the program, Director of Research, Statistics and Information Management of the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, Divine Ayijo, said MMDAs are making strides in undertaking developmental projects without solely relying on government funding.
The policy objectives encompass 1. The empowerment of local authorities with greater autonomy in decision-making and resource allocation, public financial management to ensure fiscal sustainability for local governments, reducing their dependence on central government funding and citizen participation. Ladies and gentlemen, throughout the past 4 years in the implementing the policy, the National Decentralization Policy and Strategy achieved significant milestones. This progress is evident in various domains that can be classified into administrative decentralization, physical decentralization, political decentralization, and social impact.
Program Director of the PERD program, Astrid Cole, said the program highlights the need for integrated action plans for development in all areas of the country.
So what we are doing now jointly with our partners, especially with the MLGDID and the MOF, and also partners at regional level, plus civil society organizations, is to enhance the awareness about the need for sustainable finances through, for instance, the intergovernmental fiscal framework and the intergovernmental fiscal transfers. But it's also focusing on strengthening capacities in terms of integrated planning. And integrated planning means really that there is not only the budget planning or budget execution, but the budget planning and budget execution has to be aligned with the development plans, with the medium-term development plans and the annual action plans.
The PERD program, which is being implemented by GIZ and the Ministry of Finance, will advance local governance, public service delivery, and improved accountability processes in Ghana.
Small and medium-scale enterprises in the Adansi-Asokwa enclave of the Ashanti region are set to see marginal boost in their operations following the commissioning of a business resource center in the district. The resource center is expected to facilitate business growth through the provision of a wide range of business development services and financial investments to potential and existing entrepreneurs as well as enterprises. Trade Minister Katie Hammond, who commissioned the facility, is optimistic of the business prospects and job creation to revitalize the local economy. There is more in the following report.
The Adansia Soka Business Resource Center is one of the 7 newly constructed centers in the Ashanti region. It is the third to be commissioned out of the second batch of additional 30 resource centers being established in Ghana. The region boasts of 13 centers out of 67 facilities constructed across the country. The center is expected to provide a full range of business development services, investment facilitation, and information services to potential and existing entrepreneurs, as well as business enterprises at the district level. Kwesi Atta Entry is the National Director of Rural Enterprises Program.
Let me state here that the total investment, you see, is a very beautiful edifice, but also at a cost. Totals about 7.4 million Ghana cedis and includes the cost of the building, the furniture in it, the vehicle, as you see there, decorated, office equipment, and you find it fully furnished, functional spaces dedicated for business development.
The Adansia Soka district comprises residents who are mainly into farming, trading, artisanship and craftsmanship. District Chief Executive Andrew Edubwahim believes the facility would support the local business community to thrive.
The Business Resource Center will not benefit Asoka alone, but all the neighboring communities under the Traditional Council. The Adansia Soka enclave hosts most of our artisans, craftsmen and traders. However, we do not have any facilities such as this to harness the potential of our craftsmen and artisans. In this regard, this center will create the needed environment for training of our people. This is a very great boost to business-minded individuals, and on behalf of our tradesmen in the district, I wish to express my sincere appreciation.
Trades Minister and Member of Parliament for Adansia Soka, Katie Hammond, is optimistic the resource center would facilitate job creation.
The business creation part of it, the job creation out of it, is what this is meant to be. This is meant to facilitate the creation of all sorts of jobs. It's a business resource center. So we're asking the community in whatever shape or form that one decides to set up a business to come over and to seek advice, to seek facilitation in all sorts of manifestations. You seek advice, how do we raise some loan, technical advice, how do we even put together a business plan? Now, you would get it here. And that would cascade down the road to facilitate whatever, who else is doing out there. And so that is what is going to create the numbers. Ultimately, this is a focal point for creation of the business we're talking about. It's a business center, it's a business environment, and the fulcrum of all the business activities and job creation that will take place ultimately in the district.
Chief Executive of GEA, Kusi Yankiaye, says the government is committed to enhancing youth entrepreneurship as the new resource center will be a one-stop shop for business development.
All will be done, but in the interim, we've been able to train them, provide them with support and entrepreneurship support, how to start your business, how to sustain your business, their apprentices. And we believe that this beautiful edifice is not just a building. It is the building where business development will grow, where your businesses will thrive, where the youth who need advice, who need direction, can walk into this building and get the support that they want.
For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright-Kweku.
And here in the studios of Joy, I am Pius Kojo Baka. Thanks so much for watching Prime Business. We've got the latest commodities update for you, after which we bring you sports.